Wrestling Omakase brings you a full-course meal of all of Japanese wrestling, men's and women's. Join me, a Japanese wrestling fan for over 20 years, along with a rotating cast of equally knowledgeable co-hosts, as we cover everything from New Japan and Stardom to Noah, All Japan, DDT, Tokyo Joshi, Mari Gold, Sendai Girls, Dragon Gate, GLEAT, Ice Ribbon, and even more stuff. If you're a fan of Japanese wrestling and you want coverage of the entire scene in one podcast, check us out right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network each and every week. Get us wherever you get podcasts today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, and I'm joined once again by Damon McDonald. It's Thursday the 13th of August 2026. This is episode 421. Welcome everybody, welcome one and all to our lovely show.
Yes, hello, good evening, and welcome to our show. As a helium-filled Andy Taylor would say, where, Joel, you wondering? That would be in the 1985 or /84 documentary Sing Blue Silver by Duran Duran. They were getting, they're huffing helium balloons. And Andy Taylor says, hello, good evening, and welcome to our show. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
We should do an entire podcast on helium. That would be fun.
That would be. You know what, though? After a while, though, it does wreck your voice. Like, you know when you're done doing the fucking helium balloon funny voice thing. Because it starts to hurt your vocal cords. Have you ever done whippets?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's, I guess nitrous oxide, is it? Back in the day, you would go to concerts and you would see schmoes with like gigantic air canisters, like that you would use that for like, I don't know, like bars, to add carbonation, and they would fill balloons.
Not the Oleg Boltin bars. We're talking a different kind of bars.
That is correct. That's correct. Pubs, if you will. And you would hear it. Like, you'd go to concerts and you just hear, like, in the distance, oh, somebody's got a nitrous tank. And they would sell them for like $5. It's a gigantic balloon filled with nitrous oxide, and you breathe that in, and boy, you're going to be fucking loopy for a second or two. Yeah, I've done my fair, and it got so bad where, so like for like whipped cream machines and shit like that, there would be like mini canisters. So it would be like, maybe about an inch tall. And you would buy this little cylinder thing with a needle inside. So you would put the canister inside the canister and twist, and the needle would pop a hole into the canister, and then the nitrous would go into a balloon, so you could have your own at-home ones. Boy, oh boy, was I a fucking degenerate. Because we did those a lot. And the last time I did one of those, mind you, Joel, we were at a concert. It was me and Cheryl. And are you familiar with the band Live?
No.
They sung
sing me a song.
Yes, they sung Lightning Crashes with the famous line, her placenta fell to the floor. Oh, now
you're making that up.
No, I'm not. Look it up.
You're teasing me, Damon.
I swear to God, I laugh every time I hear that dumb line, because what other song has the word?
Sure, this isn't your drug-addled memory.
Nope.
Conjured this.
I'm promising you. It was oh, now feel it coming back again like a you know that one. And you probably heard
Let me look it up. I'm gonna
Lightning Crashes is the name of that song. With placenta.
Lightning Crashes, right?
Live, yes.
Lightning Crashes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna play a little bit.
Play a little bit. Why don't you?
Now, YouTube listeners will be able to hear this.
That's all right. So, you know the song. It's easier not to be great. I mean, it's like 90s US alt rock stuff. They did I Alone. I alone love you. I alone tempt you. Not ringing any bells, huh?
No, I don't think I've ever heard this before in my life.
Really?
The video looks quite sad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's about a fucking miscarriage. Yeah. It's, not
Oh, right. Okay. That explains the lyrics then.
right. I mean, I thought placenta fell to the floor was a dead giveaway, Joel. I don't know. Yes, they were from
The name of that could be like a Zack Sabre Jr. finishing move for all I know. But...
placenta fall to the floor. Maybe. I can't believe you never heard that song.
Well, you know me. My music knowledge is terrible.
That's not terrible. You're just saying that. What else did they do? They did. They did older songs. You're not going to know. If you don't know that one, you're not going to know. But yeah, A Throwing Copper was the name of the album. It was very big here in the States. And it was one of Cheryl's favorite bands growing up because they were kind of local. They were from York, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour and a half from here. So she saw them many, many times. Dragged me there. Dragged me to that as well. She drags me to all these fucking concerts, Joel.
You got any amusing anecdotes from your most recent trips to see?
Yes.
When I was in Tesco's, I saw some Oreos that were
the purple ones.
It's like brown sugar syrup.
Yeah,
pancake. I think it's the Korean dish is called hotteok, if I'm not mistaken, and it had all the pictures of all the BTS lads on it.
Yep.
And I was going to, I picked up a packet of them, and I was going to take a selfie of myself holding the packet of Oreos and filleting it like it was a erect penis and send it to you. But there are a lot of children about.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good move.
Not to do that.
Yes, we saw them once again, Joel. This time in Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Stadium. Home.
They recognize you? They'd be like, "Oh, it's you again!
It's you again, you fuckface!
Come up on stage and help us with our latest hit."
Yeah, I could just
baby, nice girl, you are very nice. Nice. That's I imagine.
You gotta get a little bit more of a beat. You gotta get a little more, a little punchy, a little more, because you really got to hit some dance moves. The biggest takeaway, it was the same exact show I've seen 2 other times, mind you. So, all right, I'm going to share the story because they don't know who I am and I don't know who they are, and it is what it is. You have an intruder?
Yep, another run-in.
Okay, I'll wait because it gets a little graphic.
No, just don't. No, sell her. She can't hear you. I've got you in headphones.
I'm
going to ruin the audio on my end, so I'm going to mute it for the recording, but YouTube listeners are going to hear whatever nonsense is about to come out of her mouth. Oh no, she's gone.
Bye. Good, yeah. Because so we're there. We get to her seats. Blah blah blah. And again, they attract a predominantly younger female crowd, right? But as I'm walking up the steps to the seats. The girls are very young. I mean, Joel, I don't know if I could honestly say I'm gonna throw out a number and say 13. All right. They're all their concert finest. Definitely their first fucking concert. And then so we sit down, and the mom is not even there. She's not even sitting with them. She just kind of came in and said, okay, here's this. I'm right over here. If you need me, text me, blah, 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 blah. So I guess, I don't know. She's just at the fucking bar getting drunk. Who knows? So we're sitting there, blah, blah, blah. And I could hear them talking a little bit. And one thing, I could hear her whispering to her other friend, I hope this guy doesn't stand up because I won't be able to see. Right. And I was like, you're in luck. You're in luck. I said, I don't stand up just for that reason, because I want you to see the show. So I sit and you won't have any problem saying, if you do, I'm in the last seat in the aisle all the time. I was like, you can stand over here or whatever. You're not going to get in my way. You're not going to bother me at all. She's like, oh, thank you very much. Blah, blah, blah. And she gave me a little bracelet, right? Little thing. I was like, it's very nice. Thank you. It's like my wife really likes them, so you might want to give her one of those. They were
reverse Umino situation where the child is.
Yeah. Well, I didn't give out the bracelet; they gave it to me. So that ends, and okay, great. And I'm just kind of sitting there. We're having a conversation with my friend Gabby and my wife. And then it stopped. Something stopped us dead in our tracks, Joel. The conversation with the young ladies behind us.
They said, "Hold on a second, are you Damon McDonald from the Super J Cast?"
Nope, that did
We're
not
big
happen.
fans.
Not once would that happen. Nor would I expect them to even comprehend the dumb shit we talk about.
No,
and speaking,
they're probably Voices of Wrestling flagship subscribers.
Jeez. Oh no. It stops us dead in our tracks. The conversation behind us. Yeah, it's really hot. Yeah, I know. And I think I just got my period. And I kind of like look back and I'm like, keep it down a little bit, girls. Keep it down a little bit. And then I'm just thinking of these poor little girls and their period. You know what I mean? Like, this got to be traumatic. The whole thing, the whole fucking, and then I'm like, oh boy, you got nothing. You got like 30 years of that.
You thought you were having a bad evening, Damon. Oh my goodness.
I know. And then it's, and you know, just, obviously you ignore the comment, mind you, but, I don't know. I just felt bad. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I can't, like, that's just got to be the worst. But and now again, I'm assuming that's going to be the obligation of the missus. But are you prepared for period talk? I know you have a couple years to go, mind you.
Of course. You know, as a teacher, especially the age that's a core part of the curriculum. You know, they need to know that stuff. They need to be prepared. And I was just thinking that when you know, kids always there are certain kids who try to get out of doing PE lessons. They, you know, they don't want to do the sports or the swimming, whatever, and they'll have all the excuses in the book. And I'll just like absolutely grill them, like cross-examining and check. Right, I'm going to phone parents. I'm going to check if that's true. If you got a doctor's note, you know, they'll be selling some phantom injury. I'll be like, I just saw you playing football at break time. You look absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with you. But if one of the girls says to me, can't do PE, can't do swimming, I'm like, why not? Why can't you do it? And they go, periods. And I just instantly fold. I'm like, okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. I would too. I'd be like, oh, you haven't paid your taxes? Why? Period. Okay, no problem. So strike that from the books. No taxes for old Period Jones. Yeah, just that's one thing. I count my blessings. Having the anatomy.
Honestly, it's something that we sort of kind of started to navigate already, because
is that right?
We're given that our house is not the biggest and we have one bathroom. There have been instances where Esther has seen Mally when she's
menstruating.
When there has been evidence of menstruation, and she's asked a lot of questions, as she does. She's a curious girl, but I'm not the type to, you know, sugarcoat things or not tell her the truth. I'm just direct. I'm like, yeah, this is menstruation. This is like giving her the scientific explanation. This happens when you get older, when you reach puberty. This happens, and then this will happen, and this will happen, this will happen. And she's like, oh, okay. So I'd like to just sort of normalize it early on. So she is
okay. But there's one thing. There's one thing that you're skipping, is the fact that, again, talking about it is one thing. When it happens, are you a prepared soldier?
Yeah, I think she will have to have like a little kit ready.
Right.
And I would just like her to have that kit with her. You know, if it happens at home, then fine, we're going to have everything we need there. But if she's at school, for example, I would hope that she has that kit in her school bag. So
yes,
she's prepared for it, and she's not going to get too upset or overwhelmed or panic. And she'll know, oh, yeah, here it is. This is what I need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Bash bosh.
Yeah, you definitely do that. And I would say staple it to her fucking forehead, because kids are cruel. I don't know if you know this. Kids are cruel. And I remember being in like, you know, kind of middle school-ish, 7th grade, whatever, 6th grade maybe. And there was a girl who got she had white sweatpants on too, and she was not prepared. And needless to say, for the rest of her fucking life, she was known as Period Daniel. Just saying. You don't want that to fucking happen. So, yeah, terrible. And also, there was another girl who we nicknamed Eggnog. I don't know why. Like, it's not like she ever had eggnog that we've seen. It was just one day she was just nicknamed Eggnog, and I don't know why. And then, of course, you have the Bugsy Pit people. Kids are cruel, man. Kids are fucking cruel. Yes. So please, I'll buy it for her. I don't. Let's change the subject quickly, please. I don't want to talk about menstruation. Ugh. Every month. You know what I thought too when I was kind of recent? I mean, when I say kind of recent, like I was at least in my 20s. I truly thought that every woman had their period at the end of the month. Not 30 days.
Oh, they were all synchronized.
At the end of the calendar month. Like, it was just, it knew to adjust for the calendar and not necessarily 30. And I swear to God, the same person that we went to the BTS concert with, Gabby, she looked at me like I was a fucking mental patient. She's like, I need you to stop and explain to me what the fuck you just said. And I explained it again with all the confidence in the world, Joel. And she's like, you are a fucking idiot. Just an idiot. And just the laughter that ensued. And to this day, I am reminded of how much of a fucking idiot I am, thinking that every female had their period at the end of the calendar month and not, just a running 30-day cycle. I don't have to. Why? Because I never had to deal with it. I never had it around me. Like, you never
taught that in school, though.
Joel, you might as well just told us fucking, babies came from storks. You know what I mean? Our sex education was truly the worst. Truly the worst. And my parents were my dad was like, I'm out of here. I ain't fucking dealing with this. And my mom was she was a wacko. So, But again, there was no reason for me to have that conversation. I did not really understand the menstruation. Until I had a girlfriend, honestly. That's really when I was like, well, so she would get cramps and I would have to take like a basketball or a soccer ball, football, if you will, and rub it on her stomach. I'm like, but I never saw it. Like, I never saw.
What?
Yeah, no, never saw.
Basketball?
Huh? What?
You did what with a basketball?
So I would have to kind of press on her stomach and because she would get bad cramps. And that would help alleviate her cramps.
Press on it with a basketball?
Yes. And kind of roll with it.
Oh.
Yeah. 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 But I never saw a pad or a tampon or how people kind of brag. Yeah. We have sex when she's menstruating and I have the red badge or whatever the fuck they call it. Never. I've never have I done that. Never. Nor will I ever. No. Nope. I've never seen it. I've never seen it with Cheryl. I'll tell you the truth. I've lived with this woman for over 30 some odd years. I've never seen any evidence. I've seen boxes of tampons in a closet. I've seen but I've never seen a shred of evidence that of a menstruation in this house. I swear to you.
Melly's transitioned to these special underpants that you wear.
Okay.
Like the period pants. So, she doesn't use any additional products. She just, when she's menstruating, she will wear these pants with a special thickened gusset. And they're reusable. So you wash them and then...
Oh, no.
And then you can wear them again.
Why won't you just use it? Can I ask? That's so gross.
Hung out to dry in the shower.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
no, no. There's none of that in this house. Now I will say this: I guarantee you, she has.
They're black, so you can't see.
Okay, all right. Still, she has.
Imagine if someone's just tuned into the Super J-Cast for the first time,
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh, they listened to the ad insert where they were listening to another Voices of Wrestling show, like, oh wow, New Japan's hot at the moment. We're at the critical part of the G1 Climax. I'm going to give Super J-Cast a chance."
Yeah, let's give them let's tune in. I'm sure I'm really in the mood to hear some opinions on G1. Do you know? And I recently learned this. And I would say, when I say recently, probably in the past 2 years. Are you familiar with the cup situation? Where they insert a plasticky cup to collect said menstruation? It's a fucking cup. They stick in their vagina.
Yeah, a moon cup. So I became familiar with this when I was at university. We just happened to be walking part. There was some sort of
somebody having their period in a window.
No, it was like a sort of raising awareness of different methods of of menstruation products, and there was a moon cup there, and I remember just being quite shocked at the time, being like, "What? They do what? Wow!" Like that was quite a mind-blowing experience to me, learning about the moon cup.
Yes, I don't
know anyone that uses a moon cup.
No, neither.
It doesn't sound like the most comfortable.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was my question. I was like, so you walk around with this fucking thing in you? Apparently, yes. Those vaginas, you could hide a fucking Volkswagen in there, apparently. Jesus. Jesus Christ, smuggling small automobiles.
House of torture gimmick. Imagine Dick Togo whipping a moon cup out and using it to...
Gross. So gross.
Maybe in the Yotsuji Jake Lee match, when Jake Lee was applying the red.
Oh, that was period blood, you're telling me.
That might have been a statement on trying to break some taboos about performing cunnilingus during menstruation.
That is taboo. Yes, a taboo. It's fucking gross. Are you kidding me? Seriously. Have you ever done... Joel, have you ever done that? Tell me the truth. Have you ever done that? No,
I haven't.
Of course not. You're not a fucking animal. Have you ever had sexual intercourse whilst?
Yeah.
Really? I've never have. Never have. Oh, I just can't imagine the fucking sound it would make. Ugh. God almighty.
You have to when I'm in the mood, like that overrides a lot of common sense.
You gotta be. I gotta be really horny, dude.
We'll deal with the consequences afterwards. Let's just
really. Let me just blow this out in my head. Yeah. No. I don't think I've ever been that horny. Nope. Hard no. I won't even let my wife near me. Not that she's like climbing all over to get to me, but I won't even let my wife near me if I didn't take a shower. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel so self-conscious. Like, my balls smell like fucking onion bags, dude. Dude, you don't want to fucking get within 3 feet. You know what I mean? Like, I would just feel so self-conscious.
Does that work both ways? Like, if she's just been to the gym or something, you're like, get away from me. Like,
No. In fact, it's probably been, as we like to call it, a spicy Cincinnati. You know how, like, there's different fucking terms, the rusty trombone and the fucking, all these dumb things.
Yeah.
Cleveland steamer and all that shit. Literally. So we made up one and we just put a city and something stupid next to it. So a spicy Cincinnati is when you are the focal point and there's nothing in return. There's nothing assumed. You're just taking care of the person. And that's it. You just roll over and go to bed. So there have been spicy Cincinnatis where, for her, but I would not, on a day without showering. But no, I just feel weird. Like
it's just like a squash match, basically.
Yeah, a squash match. That's a great way to put it. Yes, exactly correct. I'm the one taking the fucking bumps. Absolutely.
She's getting all her shit in, and you're just staring at the lights.
Correct.
Take it home.
You take yep. You take it home. Yep. So there you go. For the record, I've never had sex with a partner who is menstruating. Joel has, as like an animal. He says no cunnilingus, but
do it again.
But we doubt at that. And then we learned about cups. We learned about. That's it, right? It's just those are the only 3 things that I'm aware of: cups, pads, and tampons. Correct? There's no other fucking fucking mousetrap apparatus that people are using, correct?
Well, there's the sanitary towels, like the panty liners, of course.
Oh yeah. Of course. Oh, what an industry. I'm sorry. Where do you work? Yeah, I work at the tampon factory. Oh, okay, great. I mean, it's a thing. Guys don't really have the equivalent of that, do we? We don't have anything. We don't have anything like that. We have nothing like that. I mean, I just thought I'd lay that out for everyone, just in case they didn't know.
Yeah, I can't think of a witty or interesting comment.
No, there's none. All right, where are we going next? Being that I fucking put the boat right into a fucking coral reef.
Didn't Austin Aries have a thing about
periods?
Periods, yeah.
It was a fetish?
No, wasn't he saying something about vegans and non-vegans, and non-vegan women smell like, what did he say, sweaty pennies or something?
Non-vegan women smell like rusty pennies.
Yeah. Let me look this up.
Is that I'm assuming the blood. I mean, yeah, like, have you ever like flossed your teeth a little bit too hard and you get a little blood in your mouth? Yeah, of course. I mean,
yeah, well, yeah, that's the iron, isn't it? The iron content of.
Yeah. So he's down there, huh? Red River Canyon.
No, I don't know if he. I need to look this
Why
up.
would he bring it up if he didn't? And how would he know? How would he know that a non-vegan woman tastes like, as he said?
Every time I try and search for something, though, I get the stupid AI overview where it's trying to
I hate it.
Piece together disparate pieces of information and reaches completely the wrong conclusion.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Just give me a search result. Come on, Google. It's not like this search result hasn't been searched 1,000 times in the past 5 minutes. Austin Aries, period.
Yeah.
I can't believe you would remember something like that.
The juice is not worth a squeeze here because it's coming up with what I want. So there's a question here from Reese. He says, who out of the G1 field are most and least likely to go see Oasis? Okay, so Reese posted that in the YouTube chat room. So at one point, Reese was listening along live, but I assume we've run him off at some point in the last.
Couldn't handle the period talk, a tough guy.
It would have been Reese, but if you're still there, we'll answer your question.
All right. So, which of the G1 combatants would be the least likely to go see Oasis?
Most and least likely to go and see Oasis.
Most would be, I would think, Zach. I think Zach would go to Oasis. Yeah. He likes a lot of the British indie scene. Moves named after, is it Mogwai song? So say him, or maybe even Callum. Least likely. Let's go through here. I'm not even going to say like Ren, because he would probably go.
Yeah, he was the person popping into my head.
Yeah. How about that? I'm going to say Aaron Wolf. And I'll tell you why. He probably has zero knowledge of music. Probably less than zero. And because of his training, spending a lot of time training. So he would probably be the least in if I'm looking at the roster right now and going through. Yeah, I would go there. Here's the thing. I think Yuya would probably be like, oh, Wonderwall, sure. Like everybody's going to know at least that. Like that's the fucking floor. But I don't even think Aaron Wolf would have he'd be like, I have never heard this one before in my life.
Reese is still there, and he says, was tempted to swap the most and least likely to see Oasis question with a more topical menstruation equivalent.
I mean, go for it, Reese. I mean, the floor is yours at this point.
Yeah, I'll put out a Twitter thread asking if anyone's got any menstruation-based questions they want us to answer.
Yeah, please. I mean, we're obviously experts. We're obviously. I mean, I've only been on this fucking planet, 50 years. But yeah, okay. I'm just learning about periods myself. So, yeah, crazy. Yes. So, Reese, again, I hope you hear the exciting news, the rumors of Oasis gearing up for a summer tour. Manchester. We'll go together and we'll drink from a period cup. All right? How's that sound?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Where do I go from that? Christ. Should we talk about the G1 Climax?
Oh, all right. I mean, if we have to on period talk, but okay, great. Go ahead. All right.
So we made the executive decision rather than doing a reaction show to night 16, and then doing a show about night 16 and night 17, where one of us would be repeating our takes about night 16. Just thought it's just be quicker and easier to do a night 16 or night 17 review show, but that's turning out to be harder than I thought, given the places that this conversation has gone. Let's start with night 16 in Shizuoka, if I may.
Yes.
This was in Act City Hamamatsu, in the event hall.
Yeah.
And the event in the event hall was G1 Climax.
It was.
Night 16.
Yep, it was.
The attendance was 2,075.
I'm going to say
last year.
Yeah, go ahead.
1,730.
Ooh, look at us.
We're up.
Look at
Over
us.
300.
Good.
Violet Skipping in the Discord has been tracking the attendances, and he says, according to his calculations, the total attendance is now 35,458, so up 3,808 year on year.
Okay.
And 642 venue for venue.
Look at that.
That's really good news.
Look at us. Look at us. That's good. I mean, look, again, we've good job of Violent Skipping, who I saw I'm assuming his, but again, let's not generalize. The name in Chris Samson's G1 Climax, the unofficial. Of course, he had to put the unofficial because, don't get in trouble by Chris. I mean, Charlton, that is. He was in there. He's in the top mix, if I'm not mistaken. I saw my name there, somewhere comfortably in the middle, Joel. And also a blast from the past, by the way. You remember the name? I Ate Damon's Ass. Remember that name?
Yes.
Yeah. It's there. It's back again. I want to meet I Ate Damon's Ass. Damon McDonald, and not just Damon's ass, Damon McDonald's ass. I want to meet that person. That's continuing that. I don't even know how that came about. Do you remember how that came about? Did I tell him to eat my ass in some point? Probably. That's what I'm thinking. I probably went on a rant. Okay, G1 Climax 36. Sorry, Joel. Late 16.
Yeah. C block update here.
Okay.
So, in terms of tracking people who've scored falls on the undercards, Hartley Jackson, runaway leader in the C block, 26 points.
Let's go.
So that's 13 falls that he's picked up. Jacob Austin Young on 14. Taiji Shimori on 10. Toriano on 6. Kanemaru on 4. Daiki Nagai on 4. And Sho on 2 points. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. Hartley Jackson obviously is the kind of the final boss of the G1 undercards, but didn't see fit to sort of push him beyond that point. And that's a nice spot for him, but I did think, we had a question actually about Shota Umino. So Derek said, did Shota getting injured actually make this G1 better? Absolutely not. No, it definitely made it worse. And it's been a fantastic G1. So think how much better it would have been with Shota Umino.
Yeah.
So I've said before that he, I think, was going to be the emotional core of the B block. And without him there, the B blockers at times felt a bit directionless in a narrative sense. But I did make the point as well. I think in future, if there is an injury, that they should replace them with someone. And I would have thought Hartley Jackson would have been the perfect person to do it. I understand that you've got guys who are not booked on a tour, and whilst my number one choice would have been Taichi, if he's not booked on the tour, maybe he doesn't want to do it. Maybe he's off doing something else, whatever. But the point being, they had a perfectly viable sort of mid to lower tier heavyweight there in Hartley Jackson, who I think would have been perfectly serviceable to take that slot. And, even if they're going 0-9, just to have an extra match there.
Right.
And give paying fans something rather than just give them nothing. And, I just think that's a lesson for them in the future, in spite of the great business that they've done so far. Given that this has happened quite a few times in recent years, there needs to be a contingency plan. I don't think it's okay to just do nothing if a guy gets injured.
Are you at all concerned? Because I have not heard peep one about his condition, Shota's. And again, if it was a concussion, did they specifically say concussion? Because that's what we've heard. It was concussion based. Does it? I guess my question is this: once you're out, right? Once they finally said, "Okay, you're not wrestling, you're done." But if we look at everybody else on that roster, I guarantee you, at least half of those people are talking about shoulders and knees and hips and spines and you name it, the injuries that everybody's, it's like a walking wounded right now, G1. Does it concern you at all because it's a concussion that A, we have not heard a peep, and B, concussions are weird. You could be fine the fucking next day, or you could be struggling with it for months. Any concern on your part, Joel, Jay, Abraham Jr.?
So my understanding, it was kind of an accumulation of different things that happened. So there was the pack match on the Tony Khan show where there was a big table bump. And I think that's what caused the initial head trauma. Then the Gabe match, I think I asked around, I think there was like a clothesline or something, a lariat, where he got rocked from that. But it was not something that was like, you wouldn't have noticed it if you were watching the match, but just because it was sort of stacked on top of what had happened in the pack match, he was a bit wobbly after that one. And then he had the match with Zack Sabre Jr. And if you recall that one, there was a big European uppercut and he was a bit wobbly after that one as well. So it wasn't like none of those things in isolation were like, this is what's caused it. But I think my understanding was that all of those sort of stacked on top of each other and he wasn't getting better. Like he didn't have the time to recover from it and he was still showing symptoms of it. So I think the decision was just made. He just needed time off to recover from it properly. Because that's, say what you will about safety in New Japan, that is one thing that they do take seriously. And, you can just point to Katsuyori Shibata's exclusion from New Japan following his injury to show, that is something that they don't mess around with when it comes to head injuries. So I think they were just sort of erring on the side of caution there because that's something that they do take seriously. But I'm expecting him to be back. He might very well be back for the semis or the final.
I was going to ask. Yeah.
Gabe Kidd was calling him out. So my understanding is that they wanted him to rest so that he is okay for the rest of the year because they need him for the rest of the year. They need him for Wrestle Kingdom because, again, I think it's him and Yota Tsuji seems like the most likely direction. I don't know if him not being in the G1 or whoever turns out winning the G1 is going to throw a spanner in that. But I don't have any worries at all. I think they're just being cautious, and they should when it comes to head injuries.
I agree. And again, the Shibata thing is a wacky one where the guy fucking dies in a hallway and they had to take out his brain and everything. So it's a little bit different. I worry about head injuries and concussions more than just about anything else because again, they're so tricky. You can't, it's done when it's done. And, being around, being the sports media person that I am and being around a lot of National Hockey League, concussions are a focal talking point with injuries and such. So, yeah, it's, I hope he does show up. I hope he does. And I know the feeling of New Japan in the sense of, we're not going to have him show up because we don't want him to steal any spotlight from the eventual winner. I get that. And I agree with that, but maybe sitting at ringside or something, just something just to kind of let us know that we're okay and we're moving forward. Because again, you're right. There is a lot riding on him being well and getting okay. And I understand him sitting out of G1, which had to be a bit of a monkey wrench thrown into their plans, but they were able to pivot. I just want to make again, it's not about me; it's about the person's fucking health. But there's a lot riding on him being better, definitely. And again, a concussion is one of those tricky injuries that I just haven't heard much about it. So, all right, very good. All right, but yeah, I would have put in Jackson, because here's the thing too. If we were going to do wrestling storyline stuff, here's a guy that, even though he's a big fucking brick shithouse, he's not prepared for G1. So him losing more, maybe getting a win or two, would have been probably better than just having people just get points just because they were scheduled to meet a guy who's no longer in a tournament. My thoughts. All right, very good.
Okay, great. So let's get into the block matches then on the final night for the A block. So we started off with Sanada defeating Shingo Takagi 12 minutes 18 seconds with an O'Connor roll. So that leveled things up where they both finished on 8 points. And I enjoyed this match a lot. I think you've forgiven these guys for taking it easy towards the end of a grueling tournament. But I thought in this match they worked hard. They went out, they had a fun, energetic match. I think it's a match that wouldn't have looked out of place in the glory years of New Japan, 6 or 7 years ago. And I think that's worth celebrating, given that these are, I don't, maybe it's controversial for me to say so, but they're both past their prime, aren't they? And maybe they were going out to make a point here that they still have value to the company. And I've been trying to track the narrative progression of Sanada with this character beats that he's leaning into. He's struggling early on with his withered arm, and then he's did a bit of heelish stuff because he's got to do what he has to do to survive, but now he's gone like completely clean babyface wrestler. He's trusted his babyface instincts here, and he got the job done with his skills, with his O'Connor roll. And I enjoyed, after he got that flash pin, Shingo selling the disbelief by immediately going for a pin after the match ended. He's like, no, it's not finished. Right. That was quite funny. And I suppose my question, would be like, do you think both these guys are being used appropriately with their spot on the roster? Because I know there's a lot of people who want Shingo to be more prominent, like more of a gatekeeper, i.e. like, being in play on the final night, like a situation where if he wins, he goes through, or, playing spoiler to someone, but this match was sort of no consequence whatsoever. I like the way that he was used in this tour. Like he was sort of like the mid-tour work rate featured match. He had a couple. There was like the little stretch where he was in, I think it was a main event and a semi-main event against guys like Goto, Takeshita, doing the sort of 2019 throwback style match. And I think that's really good. He didn't have to be featured prominently through a whole tour. And I think that's something that they did well as a whole, just having each person in the block having their little moment where they were the focus of sort of the cards and the narrative attention there. And I think I don't have any problems with him being downcycled. And let's not forget, Shingo was main eventing Night to Dontaku not too long ago. That was only a few months ago. So it's not like the guy's been sent to the glue factory. Guys get sort of cycled in and cycled out. And Shingo is on the downswing. I'm not saying he's got, he can still go with the tap on the shoulder, but he is not the focus at the moment. And I think it was the right decision to sort of shift him back a bit. So this block in particular could be focused on guys like Tsuji and Oiwa and Oleg Boltin and Yuto Ice and people like that. And as far as Sanada, he seems to be a lot more controversial, because especially if you talk to casual fans, who the narrative for a lot of those types seems to be that he shouldn't even be in the tournament. He can't go. He's not selling any tickets. But I disagree with that. I think he's absolutely justified his spot here, because he's, I think, worked really hard. I don't think he's messed any matches up. I've not seen much sloppy Sanada. I think he's done some interesting stuff with the character. I think the fans are still invested in him, and he's very unselfish. I think he's been really valuable in helping to establish the next generation of guys. Like, for example, that match he had with Oleg Boltin, where he just got absolutely destroyed in 2 minutes. That was way more effective being done to a former world champion like Sanada than it would have been if it was, I don't know, like a young lion or something in there. So I think Sanada has absolutely justified his inclusion. I think it's been used really well in this tour.
I don't. Let's work our way back. Sanada. I don't see how anyone who's watched every night of this tour can have a shitty thing to say about Sanada. Like, again, we're not grading on a curve here, mind you, but I think everyone needs to remember the physical state that he's in. Now, whether he should be in it in the first place at the time on paper, yeah, I mean, I get it. You're scratching your head thinking, okay, well, we have a lot of guys that are younger and more fit and not coming off serious injury and all of that. Trust me, I had the same fucking concerns. Let's not rewrite the narrative here. That said, like, every night the guy is doing everything he can physically. Like there's a big difference between I am trying as much as I can and my body just can't do it, as opposed to I'm not even putting in the fucking effort and my body is fine, right? He's like, what were there matches in the middle there where, okay, we're just trying to get through, right? And we're not, we don't need a 20-minute match out of Sanada this night. Were there? Yes, they were there, but also you had, like, to me, G1 is the perfect spot for him. 10-minute matches. Do you really want to see him go 25 minutes, 30 minutes? No, neither does he. 10 minutes? All right, let me fucking take a deep breath, open up the curtain, and put on my fucking disco ball gear, and let's see what I can do. Some days, I guarantee you, some days he wakes up and thinks, oh my God, just fucking shoot me in the face. Because physically I can't even get out of fucking bed. I don't know how you can look at this G1 and give it a thumbs down for him. He's busted his ass. And here's a perfect example. In a match that, again, he's fighting for his life. And or these past two nights, he's either fighting for his life to stay in this tournament, or he's like, well, fuck you. If I'm out of it, you're getting out of it too. I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that's the case. He could have, again, if you're the great Okan, you're not even in the same fucking league this tournament as Sanada. Not even the same fucking league. Now, you want to talk to me about pre-World Tag League Sanada? Yeah, we might be like, ooh, just keep him in the fucking multi-man tags, please. But for this tournament, this moment, and if we're not like, he sucks because his world championship reign was terrible. Okay, what does that have to do with this fucking G1? Because he's going out there and doing everything he can. And I'll be truthful, that's all I ask. All that I ask. Shingo, yeah, he obviously can still go. But even especially with the idea of, okay, we have to juggle things around because of injuries, this was, going back night 15, night 13, night 10, night 8. This is about really making sure that we are putting a spotlight on guys that are going to be the top of the promotion for years to come. Right? And we did say in many cases that the Shingos of the world and the Zacks of the world and the Sonatas of the world and the Jake Lees of the world and all these people who, have had plenty of time in the spotlight, all of Hiroki Goto, just understanding the mission here, understanding what needs to be done, and swallowing some pride and saying, "Okay, I'm down for what you're asking me to do." So, do I think Shingo needs to be fucking relegated to, I don't know, whatever, tag league, I don't know, whatever, just not in the mix for anything and just kind of fluttering around? No, by no means. He's still got it in the tank. Do I want him as my world champion right now? No, because we have bigger fucking fish to fry. He can be in mix for everything. You want TV? Big fun. Never fine. Tag fine. World title? Sure. Why not? But we're not going to. He's not going to be a focal point of the company. We really don't want that, do we? Because then we're kind of we're the people that are like, when Tomohiro Ishii is, still producing pretty great matches, but needs to be downcycled a little bit. We're the ones clamoring for Ishii. We're the ones clamoring for Shibata. I don't want to be that person. We gotta work on having the new peeps. All right.
Brilliant. Okay, so the next match then was Hiroki Goto defeating Yuta Ice, 10 minutes and 8 seconds with the Goto Shiki. Again, leveling up points here. Both of these guys ending on 8 points, and I thought it was a decent match. I think, like Shingo, Goto, I feel, emptied the tank in the middle of the tour with those matches that I mentioned previously, and was kind of playing the hits for the rest of the run. Not out of laziness, I think, but I think he was just maybe struggling a bit physically because there was a clear dip in the intensity of his matches. And, he's a guy who works the spot, doesn't he? If he's the semi-main event or the main event, then he's going to go all out to make it a memorable one. But if he's working the first or second match, then he's not going to put in as much effort. And, that's totally understandable. So I think as a result of that, there was nothing particularly remarkable or memorable about this match. It was a bit of a shame because, it's obviously something that means a lot to Yuta Ice. And as I think in terms of his style, he models himself on guys like Goto. So I was hoping for a bit more from this. It wasn't bad or anything. It was just a bit of a nothing match, really. Again, I'm not very much like the last two. I'm not seeing any evidence that Goto is being grossly underused, that some people are saying. I was mildly surprised that he was just not a factor. Again, I think he's a guy who you could have made the case to be in contention on the final night, but obviously he's a guy who had his big run last year as the world champion, and I thought that he'd be in the mix here. He wasn't. I'm fine with that for the same reasons that we've talked about with Sanada and Shingo, and I just applaud the three of them and people of that ilk for making and allowing the new generation to be the focus and helping establish them and put them over, because we've not always had the luxury of the previous generation doing that for the next generation. And Yuta Ice, I think, really, really impressive debut G1 from him. I think he's got that obviously all-important crowd connection. He's creative. He can work interesting matches against a range of different opponents, different styles, despite of his own technical limitations. He's not exactly Misawa, but you can see him making the effort to add more strings to his bow. And he's young. He's relatively inexperienced. He's only going to improve. So I think it's been a really good first outing for him. And I don't have the fears of him being exposed or being one-dimensional that I did at the start of the tournament. And I think that was a fair question to ask, given his lack of singles match experience. I have no issues with him going back to the tag team. I know that's something you mentioned, that you think he and Oscar have outgrown it, but I think it's really good to have two exciting and hot young wrestlers being a key part of the tag division. That elevates the tag division. So yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with Knockout Brothers going back to being the focus of the division. Obviously, they're not the champions at the moment. The champions are... who are the champions?
It's Great Khan?
And HENARE. Yeah, Army. Yeah, so yeah, I would quite like to get those belts back on Knockout Brothers, or at least have them the feature part of the division, whilst obviously putting away in the bank the fact that we may well have something special here with Yuta Ice.
Oh, we do.
I'm not saying that he's a future ace of the company, but the fans love him, and I think he's got tremendous upside. Really encouraging signs that his ceiling as a singles wrestler probably a lot higher than we would have thought prior to this G1.
Absolutely. I think he silenced a lot of people, silenced a lot of critics, silenced a lot of doubters. And there's nothing wrong with having those questions, because I think we had those questions, going in. Can he deliver on a, in a tournament like G1? I did mention that on $10 tier daily audio G1. The idea that I just can't see Knockout Brothers being a thing anymore. I mean, you got money to be made with both guys, but specifically Yuta Ice. I have a note here in my notebook. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I wouldn't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the fucking last. Was this the first pinfall that Yuta Ice had?
Yeah, that's correct. So all his other defeats were like knockouts and countouts and things like that.
So I thought that was pretty interesting that they kind of, I don't want to say save that for Hiroki Goto, but I think that's something. I'm super high on Yuta Ice. I like this match because it felt like he was just like a bull let out of the fucking gates, and he was sloppy a little bit, and he got caught being sloppy, and boom, now you're looking at the fucking lights for a 3 count. So I kind of like the idea of him just like, again, having all the skill in the world and all the talent in the world. If it's not reined in and focused, this is the shit that happens. You lose. So I kind of like that idea. Would you say Yuta Ice was the breakout of all breakout? Like, again, this tournament is all about, putting people in positions and a brighter spotlight. Do you think he is the number one guy coming out of this tournament?
No, I think you'd have to ask me at the end of the tournament, but I would say in terms of guys who have improved their stock the most, Oiwa needs to be in that conversation.
Absolutely.
And Aaron Wolf as well, because we went into that, not being sure what he can do as a wrestler. And as we'll come on to talk to, it turns out everything is the answer. He can do everything. So I'd say those 3 would be in the top 3. You can quibble about the order, but Oiwa, Yuto, and Aaron Wolf.
I'm with you. I think it's and if I told you, hey, these 3 guys are going to shine, and people are going to be like, okay, we got something at the end of this G1. I think everybody would be very happy with that. So, yep, Yuta Ice, future star to me. Not even future star. He's a star now. But I think that spotlight's going to get even brighter. And again, I just don't see how they can go back to tag. And it wouldn't hurt, but again, I just think there's more money to be made with him as a single. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Jake Lee against Yuta Ice, right?
Yota Tsuji.
Oh, Yota Tsuji. Who did I say? What did I just say?
Ice.
Ice. Yeah.
There's a lot of Yotas and Yutos and Yuyas and Yo-Yos and Yo-Yos. It's confusing. I'm confused. Yota Tsuji, Jake Lee. 30 minutes, 58 seconds via Fire Blaster. So Yota Tsuji wins the block on 12 points and Jake Lee ends up on 6. And yes, a very gripping story of Jake Lee. Do one of 2 things. He was either trying to make a taboo breaking statement on cunnilingus during menstruation, or alternative interpretation, he was trying to drag Tsuji into the clown world.
Yeah.
If that's a real sentence. He's trying to drag Tsuji into the clown world in this match. I quite like this. And I think this is Jake Lee's idea of a high effort match. Clown infrastructure notwithstanding. I think this went harder than a lot of people might expected. We got some pretty nasty stuff here. Chokeslam to the apron and double foot stomps to the outside. I quite like Jake Lee's work in this tour. He had some good flurries in this match. I like him countering the Gene Blaster with his knee. That was good. And I also like Tsuji doing the Fire Blast right in the corner and injuring Jake's neck on the ropes in the pro. If only he'd done that 2 days ago against Great Okan. But yeah, no, Jake's fine. I know there's a lot of people who've really hated his work, but I maintain with him, as long as he stays in his lane, I find him at worst inoffensive, and at best I've actively enjoyed a lot of his work. One of the things that you talked about, Damon, is that I can't fault guys when I can see that they're trying hard. And I think Jake Lee is obviously not in the best physical shape, but I think he's worked really hard on this tour. And I know he's had a few matches where he's leaned in on the shenanigans, but I don't think it's reasonable to expect wrestlers to be going all out for the entire tour. So I'm very happy with Jake Lee's output. And the fact that he ended up on 6 points, I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's about where he should be. You know, maybe he'll have to qualify next year. So it's not as if he's being pushed as a big threat and a guy who's going to be going through to the latter stages of the tournament. I don't mind the clown stuff, and it's been done quite sparingly. It's not like he was doing clown shenanigans in every match. He's kind of played around with the character a bit and kept us on our toes. Yeah, I thought this was fine.
He's been fine. Like, again, perfect partner, if you will, in this tournament, Sonata, and how they're both dealing with the physicalness of this tournament and the fact that going into it, probably people were scratching their heads. I get it. It's weird because people put G1 on this pedestal, forgetting that even in the best of times, we've had scenarios where guys have played a role similar to this in tournaments. Again, the easy example is Yano. But you've also had, Tongaloa and Tamatanga. And, it's not like G1 is this pristine thing where everything, you have nonsense. And there's a role for that nonsense. And people have to lose. It's okay. It's okay that Jake Lee is out there in his clown makeup giving every fucking thing he has. And again, sometimes he's trying to, smoke and mirror the situation. I have no idea what he is feeling when he wakes up in the morning. Should he be in G1? Again, that's debatable. The problem is that it's not like we have a roster that we can cherry pick from. Could we have put in Tai Chi? Could we put in other? Of course, but okay, we didn't. And I think given the role that he had, he did not only just fine, I thought he did very good. He did very good. There were moments where I'm thinking to myself, calm down. Grab a fucking hold because you shouldn't be doing this shit. Is he for everyone? Of course not. He's barely for me. But I got you. Night 16, you have to look at his body of work in this tournament. And again, was he fucking Kenny Omega in the finals? Was he Naito? Was he Ibushi? No, of course not. But did anyone really expect that? And if you did, I'm sorry, you got to check your fucking expectations at the door with Jake Lee. But given everything that we've seen of Jake Lee in New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think this tournament he's been more than fine. And he's worked very hard to get there. So I got to tip my fucking cap to him and throw him some flowers, man.
Then we had Great Khan defeating Oleg Boltin in 17 minutes and 30 seconds. So Great Khan ends up on 6 points. Oleg Boltin finishes on 10. 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Count that. Oh my goodness. What were they thinking? I mean, here's the frustrating thing about Great Khan. I know he can be good, right? I've seen him have good matches. We've all seen them. We're not kind of having a collective delusion here. Damon, back me up. He has had some good matches in previous years, hasn't he?
I mean, good is where probably the line is drawn, but yeah, okay. It's fair.
Okay, so I just so I'm not absolutely talking out my backside here, but even when he's doing slightly more than the bare minimum, like there were tiny moments in this match where I was like, oh, he's trying here. He's actually trying to do some wrestling, but that stopped like very, very quickly. It's all, even when he does that, it's just bogged down in this quagmire of just lazy walk and brawls and just the same match structure where he gets to work from on top for no discernible reason. He's not particularly big or tall or strong or power. Why is he getting to work on top? Because he's the heel. That's why. It's just one of these things that we're just supposed to assume is that's the way things are going to go in this match, and it just doesn't wash with me. Like the character work is goofy. The ref bumps. There were 2 ref bumps in this match. It's cheating. He's picked up all of Evil's worst habits here. and yeah, there was this is like a little sequence of about a minute where he and Oleg Boltin were suplexing each other, and I was like, "Come on, yeah, it's the old Great Khan. He's back. He's going to be good now." But then it defaulted back to the mean and went rubbish again. And like, I tried to rewatch this. I watched it live and nearly fell asleep. I tried to rewatch it today and nearly fell asleep twice. I was trying to watch it. So, God bless Oleg Boltin for taking some big bumps here to try and make this watchable. Like, completely unnecessary table bump at the end and eating chair shots and flying all over chairs in the crowd and things like that. So all the good stuff from this match was all Oleg Boltin. I don't think Great Khan contributed anything of value here. I mean, my headcanon for the table spot on the counter was that Oleg just refused to be pinned by Great Khan. Like, no, I'll shorten my career. Just put me through the fucking tables and I'll take the count out rather. I'm not being pinned by you, mate. No way. And yeah, it's just a match that had no business going 17 and a half minutes. It's quite funny. Great Khan only managed to pin one person on this tour, and that was Goto.
Wow.
And he's just the one person, I think, in the whole field of 20 who's just unequivocally, irredeemably bad. And I think some serious conversations need to be had just because of his attitude and his laziness. And I know he's a dojo guy and all that crap, but honestly, I'd rather have a young lion in there at this point. So he's trash. I've got no time for him. Oleg Boltin, yeah, we talked about him a lot. Massive stock rising overall. I mean, he's had his moments to shine earlier in the tour. That they were kind of middle loaded in his G1 Climax rather than culminating to anything at the ends. I was expecting him to lose this one, and I think just he's the new Ishii, and I mean that as a really high compliment. He's a guy who, you know, I've said before, if he wants to take the next step and level up, then a bit of character work that needs to happen. But even if he doesn't, this is a perfectly fine spot where he could go out every week and have really exciting matches. So, and yeah, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, toss people around. Absolutely. Yeah, his stonk has risen. Even in my eyes, again, turnbuckle bumps aside, Joel. No, he's absolutely shined in this tournament. And again, another guy that we can point a finger to with question marks and can he go and what can we do with him and what is his ceiling and et cetera, et cetera. But he's absolutely has broke out in this tournament and has helped. Okan, I said it again. I don't want to repeat things that I said in the Patreon, but I'm going to do it here. That New Japan should be cutting ties, effective right after this fucking. Well, you could do it now. There's something wrong. There's something wrong in the sense of the people aren't into it. The company isn't into it. Other wrestlers aren't into it. Again, I mentioned Yota Tsuji's match and, you know, just him being disgusted with the situation. And apparently there were, I didn't hear, but did you hear his post-match comments at all? Tsuji, after the Okan match?
Yeah, he absolutely buried him.
Did he? Okay, good. And good. As you should. I think the company should just cut ties. They're not into it. He doesn't even look like he's into it. It's just not there. And if that's a attitude thing where he just doesn't want to do this anymore, or he doesn't want to be the here, or whatever the case may be, it's time to end because trust me, if it wasn't for the fact that it's G1, he is instant fast forward in my eyes. There are no redeeming qualities in a Great Okan match at this point. None. At least with a Jake Lee match, you might get a chuckle. You might get a like, all right, you know, that was a pretty interesting way to be a clown. You know, whatever. I don't know. There's nothing. There is truly, Joel, nothing. Not even the entrance anymore. That seemed interesting at one point. Now it's just like, oh, this fucking clown, this guy, this fucking dork. They should cut ties. There's like I guess at this point, Joel, I'll ask the question: why keep him? Why write the check at this point? Like, what is New Japan getting out of this? Why write the check at this point?
Yeah, he just looks like he'd rather be somewhere else doing something else. So let him do that.
Yep, I
It's
agree.
fine.
I agree.
Won't miss him. Okay, then. So then the main event of this show, the A block, was Ryohei Oiwa defeating Konosuke Takeshita 50 minutes 11 seconds with a simple lariat.
Yeah.
Just a lariat that got the job done. This is so good. It's so good, isn't it, Damon? I love that these guys have got the confidence and the creativity and the freedom to just express themselves according to their vision of what pro wrestling is. Because I just think it's flying under the radar just how transformative some of the work across this G1 has been, how it's defied and subverted a lot of established traditional expectations about what a top level New Japan or wrestling match in general should be. And they only 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
This was 2 minutes shorter than that absolute abomination of a Great Okan match, and they packed so much into it. It was the grip, the match, right? It was Takeshita having his head squoze all over the shop, and just a range of situations that Oiwa locks it in and uses it to counter. Like he was stopping a tope attempt on the apron. He stopped. I think there was a tornado DDT. He stopped it with he stopped a blue thunder bomb with it down the stretch, and there's just loads of other moments where Oiwa grips his way out of trouble, and he gripped his way to victory. And it was just such a wonderful contrast to Takeshita's, like his dynamic flying high power offense, where Takeshita he's like a big eagle, just sort of flying and swooping and striking, doing all these big, grand, dynamic moves, and Oiwa finding creative ways to just grind that to a halt in a way, not in like a disappointing, like, we didn't get to see the big, exciting move way, in a way that enhanced and built on the drama, where they're just doing simple things like, struggling and jockeying for position to make each advantage hard fought and meaningful, like the test of strength spot in the middle of the match. The crowd was like, there were people screaming for a test of strength spot. It was wild. And it's just so refreshing to see a high level match built around actual wrestling.
Yep.
Wrestling, the art of two people who grapple and use leverage to throw and trip and pin each other to the ground. This is just like a really earnest and passionate expression of that art. And I thought Takeshita was amazing here. He was so good, just tremendous, making the big lock look devastating in just those little moments where he'd almost reverse it into a big power move, but he just failed to break the grip and then found himself back on the mat looking increasingly desperate. Like the selling was out of this world. Like even when you can't see his face, just his arms waving around, like he was doing an incredible selling just with his fingers.
Yeah,
like the camera's zooming on his fingers, and his fingers are quivering and pointing, just doing so much to convey the knife edge that he's on. And the way he bumped for Oiwa, he took a bump for the Chaos Theory. He just launched himself about 6 feet in the air, and his arms and legs flailing around. And I'm a sucker for when wrestlers go back to, they repeat a sequence that they've done earlier on in the match but change it up some way. So they play it differently to show the change in game state. So they had a bit where Takeshita later in the match tried to do his test of strength, use his musculature to power out of the grip, which he'd successfully done earlier. But Oi was just like, no, fuck that noise, and just headbutts Takeshita right in the chin, and then just big locked in again. And it's just such a wonderful subversion of the typical format of guys taking turns to do their moves to each other. Because Oiwa, he says, no, you're not doing your move on me because you cannot break the grip. You cannot break the big lock. And then you get those amazing moments like that kind of half, that almost blue thunder bomb. It doesn't quite come off because he's big locked up. And just the icing on the cake to win with a lariat when Takeshita's setting himself for something else, right? Takeshita's setting the ring. He's waiting for the big lock to come back. But no, Oiwa's changed it up and just knocks him out of his boots with just a simple, beefy lariat. It's a wonderful match. Just outstanding performance from both men. Like perfect use of Takeshita over the last few months. He's been so unselfish in helping to put these guys over, like Yota Tsuji at Wrestle Kingdom, and now, multiple people in this G1, but specifically Oiwa here. And it's turned into a really compelling story with Oiwa, where we were scratching our heads at the start, like before the G1, Damon, when Oiwa was announced to be in the play-ins. We're like, what? Why has he got to be part of the play-ins? And we were kind of confused about that. But now we've got this great story of a guy who nearly didn't qualify for the G1 Climax, just going on this insane run. So I'm wondering now if we just pull the trigger on him. I mean, we'll talk about predictions for the last stage of the tournament later on. But, maybe we could not do the path of pain and punishment and failure with that everyone else seems to go on when the New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe we just pull the trigger. I don't know, just throwing that out there. But did you love this match as much as I did?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I like I said, I've gotten into the habit because, one, we talk about it, and two, a lot of times I'm doing the audio on the Patreon, so I kind of want to collect some thoughts on individual things that I want to cover. And a lot of times, the joy of doing this show in this format is you'll say something which will trigger something in my mind, and then we kind of play off each other with that. And when you're going solo, sometimes you talk yourself to that point, but sometimes you need some notes to remind you of things that you wanted to cover. And one of the things that I had was, this is like your favorite album, unplugged and acoustic, like in a world full of auto-tune and in a world full of AI generated slop, as the kids would say, and stuff where you're going to a concert and you're seeing 4 people sing, but there's not a band anywhere in sight. This was you hearing your favorite fucking album stripped down and just hearing the songs be great. And that's the feeling I got with this. Like, there wasn't this pro wrestling 2026 narrative of big spot kick out, exchange move, kick out at 1, I'm going to Hulk up. And there was none of that. It was built around, I'm strong and I'm going to squeeze your fucking head until you're powder. Takeshita is truly one of the gifts we have in New Japan Pro Wrestling. What I'd love for him to be like an official full-time guy. Okay, I absolutely would. I would take it tomorrow. He's a joy to watch. He's it. He's exactly it when it comes to pro wrestling. And now you got Oiwa, who we had a lot of doubts. And we had a lot of questions going into this tournament. And even before that, what are we doing with this guy? Is this guy ever going to get a moment? Is this guy ever going to get a brighter spotlight than what he is? And a lot of times he was like a fall guy in a tag match. Not anymore. I love his look. He feels like a fucking tough pro wrestler. And they've built him during this tournament as such. I love this match. I really, truly did. One of my favorites of the fucking tournament. And you mentioned, do we just rocket ship him and say, fuck it? Let's do something different. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. And I'd be 1,000% on board. Again, whether they would do it or not is debatable, but he's in the fucking semifinals. And I don't think it's a slam dunk that it's Callum Newman that moves on. I don't think it's a slam dunk. It's a little bit ballsy what they've done, actually. Let's be fair. Let's give credit where credit is due. In a company that, quite honestly, rarely has ballsy booking moments. This does feel like a ballsy booking moment for a guy who was well under the radar, for New Japan anyway, and has come out of the woodwork and has come out under the covers, so to speak, and we're seeing what we got. And I think we have something fucking good that not a lot of people were on top of. Not a lot of people were on top of. And maybe that is what makes it even more exciting. Is that, we've had this all along. And now it looks like we got something. We talk about Boltin Oleg and Oleg Boltin. We talk about Yuya. We talk about Shota. We talk about all these guys that were like, okay, let's go. Let's warm them up and everything. A lot of times that conversation misses Oiwa. And to me, he might be the most talented one out of all of them. And we're seeing it. And I love the way he's being booked. I love the way he's being presented. And dare I say we have a blue chipper when we didn't know we really had a great blue chipper. That's exciting.
So let's talk about some more delicious wrestling from the B block, which took place today at Korakuen Hall. So the first B block match was Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Aaron Wolf in 50 minutes and 44 seconds. Where did they land with the points? I've not made a note of that. So Zack ended up on 10 points. Aaron Wolf ended on 8 points. Very respectable tally for his first G1. Mm-hmm. And, oh gosh, how good was this as well? I mean, I need to stop doing it, but I've just continued to be stunned at how great Aaron Wolf is 7 months into his career. Like, what have we got here? Because he looks like he's been doing it for 7 years, not 7 months. He's so confident and fluid already. Just the little things like the rolling through to escape the arm lock. Just a little thing like that. Okay, right, he can do that already. All those complex and fast reversals, all the pinning combinations, and he's just fucking nailing all of them. He did not miss a beat. He's developing his own signature sequences, like those chain judo throws with the wrist control. And just him versus that was a perfect stylistic matchup where you got Wolf's power and judo against Zack's submissions and grappling and striking. And like I said about the Zack versus HENARE match, Zack, he just gets it, right? He's a master at finding his opponent's strengths and showcasing them in an organic and believable way. So, story here, Zack is scared of Wolf's power, scared of his judo, and he's, trying to get away from it. And he just made him look like a monster, just absolutely ragdolling for those big throws. And I love the thing that Zack does in his matches where he just starts winding his opponent up. He just start, kicking them in the face or slapping them, and Wolf just getting more and more fired up. It's like just, you can see it. It's like, turning the screw, like, and it's going to be an eruption at some point. It was just absolutely brilliant. And Wolf's selling the submission near falls, that was great. And just the finish as well when Zack got that pin, and as soon as he locked it in, he starts with a shit-eating grin because he knows that he's already won. He knows like there's no way Wolf's getting out of this one, and that that's the kind of showmanship that I think Wolf needs to be aspiring to. Like, not that exact same level of cockiness, but just those little character flourishes that make you more than just serious wrestling man, right? And I just think you're not going to get a better opening G1 block match than this. This was so good. I'll run it back, Damon. I want to see it again and again in big arenas, maybe the biggest arena, because these guys, to me, this was something special, the chemistry between these two.
I definitely think they will. I definitely think they will be running it back. Why wouldn't they? It felt like they definitely had some extra chemistry going on, and that is great. And again, the idea of big bear judo throwing, suplex tossing guy, and Zack, he's respecting that shit, and he doesn't want any taste of it. He doesn't want any part of it, and trying to again use rookie mistakes and his own momentum, so to speak, to catch him off guard, and away we go. This match, you said you had people that did attendance figures throughout. I would love to see Aaron Wolf's match lengths. This one went 15 minutes, didn't it? And again, we're at the end of the tour, and I know people are tired, and I know people are hurt, and I know people are, at this point, probably trying to just get to the other side in one piece. Aaron Wolf has shined. Once again, it is August 13th when we record this. Keep in mind, the beginning of this year, him fucking about with House of Torture. And now he walks into G1. And again, he's had a handful of other singles matches, but still, you get my point. Going into G1 where it's a myriad of different styles. And one complaint that I saw from people is that, it's an over-reliance on judo. And he's, what do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect?
I saw the opposite complaint there. Well, I mean, admittedly, this is something based on a disapproving tweet from a teenager who's watched a 10-second clip, but there seemed to be a bit of controversy about Aaron Wolf doing a Canadian destroyer in the previous match. And again, I use the word controversy in the loosest sense possible based on a singular tweet that I saw, but there was a criticism there that he should just be sticking to judo stuff, and that him doing a Canadian destroyer was an indication that wrestling is just turning into this homogenous style where everyone's doing the same shit.
I mean, I can't.
It's absolutely not based in reality,
Right.
is it?
No,
it's not watched a second of Aaron Wolf in this G1.
It really hasn't. Name me another guy who, in this short of a span, has progressed so much. I think it's commendable, and he's not just a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just a dojo guy. Like, we all know the immense pressure it is on him to succeed at this. Is he Kurt Angle? No, not yet. Could you see him becoming Kurt Angle? I mean, I think the possibilities are absolutely there, and I mean that as a compliment. Please take it as such. Like, he's wise beyond his years. And I think even he knows his limitations, but yet he's constantly stretching those limitations. And I think that is admirable, because you don't grow and you don't become something that you're aspiring to by taking the safe road, right? So one, there's a ton of pressure. Two, he's in this game for a very short amount of time. And three, he's expected to go out there and perform at a very high level when, honestly, the years on his resume say that he shouldn't be. Once again, how can you not be excited about that? How can you not be excited about the possibilities of Aaron Wolf? We've not seen the full form. And again, man, titties aside, like, do you really think that what you have even right now is what you're going to see in 2 years or 3 years from Aaron Wolf? If this is the beginning, if this is the genesis of his career, how can you not be fucking excited? How can you not be thrilled at the possibilities? Yeah, I mean, he's had a very good G1 under immense pressure, and I feel like he's delivered on so many different levels. So and listen, throwing flowers at Zach at this point seems, of course, but let's recognize here too, Zach is one of the best. I'm sorry, he is one of the fucking best. And I could watch him on a loop and never get tired of watching his matches.
Next match was Gabe Kidd defeating Ren Narita in 2 minutes and 11 seconds. I mean, obviously the whole thing went longer than that, but it was 2 minutes 11 seconds in the ring via a driller hole pile driver. So that gave Gabe 12 points and did put him in contention for qualification for a while, and finished Ren Narita on 10 points. And I didn't mind this one, actually. I thought this was quite good. I thought it was a good use of both wrestlers, and it's one of these interesting situations in the G1 Climax where you get a heel against a heel, and I'm always interested to see how that shakes out with the crowd dynamics and who sort of picks up the de facto babyface spot. And it didn't really... It seemed at first, like with all the House of Torture guys ganging up on Gabe Kidd, that it was Gabe Kidd who was positioned as the de facto babyface, but then he was just so brutal and vicious in the beatdown that he put on Ren and smashing him through that tape. It was very funny, that table that had been used several times during this tour, and they just kept patching it up with tape. That was very funny to me. But yeah, it's Ren Narita taking a hell of a bump there, and that kind of won the crowd over. The fact that Ren showed that little bit of fighting spirit to not just get immediately pinned, and that he had the wherewithal to kick Gabe in the balls and go for the what's the name of the move that he does? The one that's like the X Factor.
The I don't know what he calls it.
All the Ren fans are getting very cross with me now. Ren Narita finisher. Is it the sold out?
I don't know what he
No.
calls it. This is what
double cross.
The
double cross.
Okay.
So he got the double cross for a near fall, and then people were chanting his name. That was really interesting to me. That he showed there was just a little spark of something there, that the crowd have not completely given up on this guy, and that when push came to shove, even though Gabe was just showing absolute monstrous intent and violence and actually destroying this guy who is a heel, right? People have been booing Ren Narita for most of this tour, but the audience were just like, they wanted Ren to pull it out. They wanted him to do something. But so, I don't know, there was just that little spark of something there. I was just sat up, I was like, Ren is not completely useless to me. He's got something, and I don't know if it's just the positioning of his character at the moment that is not doing him any favors, but I'm not ready to completely give up on him as I am with Great-O-Khan. Not to say that I think his output has been consistently good in this G1. He's had his moments. I got very annoyed with the Driller match because I thought that just the tropes that he used were really lazy, and that disappointed me because I know he can do better than that. So I don't know what it's going to take if I'm just sort of on a hiding to nothing there, but at least they resisted the temptation to just have him occupy the evil slot and immediately push him into the latter stages of the tournament, because I think that was a very real possibility there. It was just, again, they kept it short and sweet in the ring. No House of Torture run-ins once it got to that point. I thought it was really good. And I know I've done so before, but I do want to throw some love for Gabe Kidd, because I think he's really found the right balance here in the last few matches where, it's not just, suck your mum, F this, F that. He's dialed it back, and he's just comes across as a lot more threatening as a result. And I think the matches have been outstanding as well. Like the beatings that he puts on people, they look real. You look like it feels like you're actually watching someone getting beaten up in real life. And he called out Shota Umino post-match, all in Japanese, right? It's a nice little Japanese post-match promo. And he went to the effort to do that. He didn't have to do that. And I completely get it if you're put off by the excesses of Gabe's character work. And it has been excessive at several points in this tour. But you can't deny the man's worked his fucking socks off. He is still a quality wrestler, especially in the last few matches. I think he's been outstanding. And I so much so that I thought he would have been a great pick to make it to the final. I was thinking, let's have an Oiwa versus Gabe Kidd final, because that is going to get every single person in that arena cheering for Oiwa, and Gabe Kidd would just be the man to make Oiwa look like a hero and, defending the honor of the company. And they've not gone in that direction, which is fine, probably sensible in the end. But I just think there's so much value if Gabe can continue to work in New Japan, because he clearly still loves the promotion and is just, I think, given everything in this tour and has done a lot of good for a lot of his opponents.
Agreed. I absolutely would agree on the Gabe point. He's, for a guy who you could argue doesn't have to do half the shit that he does, he's doing it. And you are right. Like the effort, at the very least, is there tenfold. This match itself, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I would be thrilled if I never saw another pro wrestler go into the crowd again. It's one of those things that I just the throw him over the barricade and tell everybody to move, and then throw him into the chairs, and then like sometimes that gets a bit repetitive, and the main culprits of that, Gabe and Ren, right? You could throw Okan in there too, but there's a lot of outside the ring stuff going on with their matches. And so sometimes, and especially with this match, I'll be honest, like it just doesn't hit with me. Like it just, I don't know. I'd rather see you do 12 minutes in the ring than, 10 minutes walking around the arena and 2 minutes in the ring. I don't know. It just feels like lazy's not the word I'm looking for, but it's just like, okay. I would have loved to have seen a match. Now again, do I expect them to fucking be, Zach versus Bob Backlund? No, but again, sometimes just the outside the ring stuff gets a little old for me. And this was it. A lot of it. There's a lot of it. So I can see that where people would somewhat be like, oh, all right, we're just going to throw a lot of nonsense in one match to eliminate people and so forth. Correct me, you said it earlier, but the actual official time of the match was 2 minutes, right? That is so funny. That the idea of disqualifying people for going 12 minutes outside the ring because the bell hasn't rung yet. It's just one of those things that always has me scratching my head. But yeah, let me take this back. Not that I like Ren. I think Ren can be, if you stripped away, let me get my thoughts and my mouth together. If we're not talking about lack of effort when it comes to Ren, we're talking about a gimmick that's handcuffing him into doing these type of things, and he's trying to make it work as best as he can. He's not lazy in there just because for lazy's sake. He's trying to do his House of Torture shit. And again, that does not land with everyone. And in fact, I think the majority of the people listening to this would say, I would be thrilled if I never saw a fucking House of Torture thing again in my entire life. So I think he has it in him. It's the gimmick. Gabe, again, not to rehash, but he's worked his ass off and in a spot that, let's be honest, doesn't necessarily have to. He's done a lot. He's done a lot better. He's done a lot more good than he has been potentially in this G1. So good on both.
Well, Elliot says, I feel we don't talk enough about Ren's horrible gear. It looks like it was designed by someone who saw a picture of Evil a long time ago and drew a picture of it from memory. Do you like his little waistcoat?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, it doesn't hit a nerve with me. I'm trying to think who has the worst gear. I don't know. That's hard when I have to think about it. But no, it's like Ren's gear doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, then let's talk about the next match, which was Yuya Uemura defeating OSKAR in 17 minutes 25 seconds via armbar. So Yuya qualified in second place in the block with 12 points, and OSKAR in his debut G1 finishes with a respectable 8 points. I think it's a very, very good match, and I find Yuya matches really interesting to watch by sort of tracking the crowd dynamics as well, because they do seem to start very lukewarm for him. He's a guy that I feel the crowd, they like him, but they don't quite love him yet. And I think it might be because he's good, but he's not cool. I think he needs to be cooler. And he's a guy who he just seems to have to work really hard to get the crowd on board. And he does get them there. He got them there here. And I thought it was just a really excellent match. It was really, really good styles match up. Yuya going to his bread and butter, working the shoulder and the arm, and the size and intensity of OSKAR brought the best out of Yuya, I felt. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was great.
I liked it a lot. I think you're right about Yuya too, in the sense of a lot of times it's the guy that he's working with that helps get the crowd behind him. Like, I think he's good at eliciting sympathy. And I think he's good at, obviously, and I've said it a million times, working that babyface style, that 80s style, clean cut professional wrestling is going to win out kind of style, which is incredibly difficult to do. Right. I don't feel him being this force once he leaves the curtain. Like, it does take a while for him to warm up to the crowd a lot of times. And again, I think that we could, for every fault of that, and every issue of that. And I think that will change in time. He does do a good job of, somewhere around the middle of a match, he's able to elicit that, come on, people, I need you because I'm getting my ass kicked here. I need the energy from you. Look, I think everybody, especially when injuries hit in night one in Chicago, people, even before that, people were talking about Yuya winning this thing. Do you think he's the right guy right now to win it? Or would you rather see other people that are in the semifinals win this thing? Taking booking out of it. Like, who do you think is ready for it?
Yeah. I think Oiwa he's the hot hand at the moment.
Me too.
And close behind him, I'd say Tsuji, because I think that would help sort of solidify him as the ace of the company and be something that's not happened for a very long time, having the champion winning the G1, and I think there's some interesting things you could do with that, but I think that would really make him the clear ace of your company. Yuya winning it, I don't feel like the momentum is there, and I don't think he's improved significantly to justify it. If he does win the G1, it would just feel like it's kind of, it's his turn now, in that sort of conveyor belt thing that New Japan tends to do, where it's just like, they've had a few near misses and they've had a couple of failures and now it's their turn to win something. It doesn't really feel like it's been earned in a kayfabe sense. And I think that would always come with the stench of, you only got this because Shota got injured. So, he doesn't feel like the right guy to me to be winning.
I'm with you. I really am. I'm with you. I will say this, though. Semifinals and finals are still yet to go, right? And he's got the pick of Tsuji, who they'll have a great match, right? In a big spotlight kind of match. Like that, I think that'll be great. And if it's not great, okay, then we have some more questions that need to be answered. And if he does get into the finals, he's going to have one of Newman and Oiwa, who will bring out a great match as well. Again, finals, bright spotlight, given time, all that. So I think the jury is still out in the sense of we have two pretty big marquee matchups to look forward to kind of get him over that hump a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Yuya has been flat. But in my mind right now, there are other guys that are hotter. And I think these two matches are really going to tell a great story in getting him to that point where we're salivating over Yuya.
Sorry, I just sneezed.
That's all right.
I had myself on mute for the recording.
You had three to get.
Go here. Yeah. So the main event then in the B block was Callum Newman defeating his United Empire stablemate HENARE 23 minutes and 4 seconds via make way. So that meant in the blocks that Callum Newman won the B block and will go on to face Oiwa in the semi-finals, leaving Yuya Uemura in second place. And HENARE finishing up on 8 points. I sort of worked myself into a bit of a shoot thinking that there would be some kind of shenanigans here. I thought it was going to be like a big United Empire angle where, just based on the fact that, one, there's the spectre of Will Ospreay hanging over Callum Newman at the moment, and what had happened in the A block earlier in the tournament between Great-O-Khan and Jake Lee, with them at each other's throats, or Great-O-Khan going after Jake Lee at least, and Jake and Boston Young having to come and separate it. So I was thinking, something's going to happen here. There's going to be some kind of falling out, and that's going to lead into some United Empire developments. What I'm hearing is that there's going to be a return either at the semi-finals or the finals of a certain large square-shaped wrestler from Guam who didn't do so well at World Wrestling Entertainment and has come crawling back for his old job. Yes. So we've got that to look forward to. But I was pleasantly surprised that they just went out there and just beat each other up. And it was great. Very refreshing. Just two absolute idiots going wild. And they didn't do any kind of teasing of like, oh, you lay down for me, I'm the head of this faction. No cutting promos on each other. There was a little bit of shit talking, but they just went out there and were like, no, we're going to beat the crap out of each other. And HENARE very much the attitude, right, well, you're the leader of this faction, prove it. I'm going to come at you. I'm coming at you hard, not literally, but especially given what he says about semen retention. But they just beat each other up, didn't they?
Sure did.
That table bump, bloody hell.
Woo!
The Jake Lee got the clown paint on Callum Newman's back. I mean, that added quite a fortuitous layer of drama to the match, where I thought, it's a bit of a funny choice to have Callum Newman finishing the show as the, victorious post-match promo. And I think had Shota Umino not been injured, that would have been your main event, wouldn't it? It would have been Shota versus Driller. So they had to pivot, and this ended up being the main event. That's why I thought, oh, maybe it's going to be HENARE winning and spoiling Callum Newman, like it was with Ishii and Jay White several years ago, where Ishii won the main event, spoiled Jay White, and just walked out, and that was that. So that didn't end up happening in the end. And I think Callum having that big, enormous purple welt on his back that was sort of changing colour throughout the match added a layer of kind of babyface sympathy for Callum, where every single back bump, I was like, oh, God, Jesus, that must absolutely kill him. So I think, fighting through that and not missing a beat, he didn't seem to change up. He wasn't wrestling in a way that suggested it was particularly bothering him, but it was just a fantastic visual, and he was sort of wincing and grimacing in pain. I think he was kind of making the most out of it in the best way possible without it seemingly affecting what they wanted to do in the match. And of course, a lot of Ospreay tribute spots. They were Callum doing the Oz Cutter and HENARE doing the Hidden Blade, so they're sort of trying to fight over Daddy's affection there. We'll see where that one goes if Ospreay makes an in-person return or a video return at some point. But I just thought it was just a killer match. Yeah, they killed each other. It was good.
Me too. I love a guy like HENARE who doesn't necessarily get a lot of the bright spotlight matches. I think shined, and I know there are times when it's somewhat tough to, in a kayfabe sense, take him seriously in a spot like that. But I loved it. I thought he was a fucking fire plug, and he did exactly what he had to do to help not put Callum over the edge in the sense of not that he needed it, like an air of legitimacy of being a tough son of a bitch, but yeah, he helped establish, like, if there were any doubts in this tournament about Callum and his commitment or his willingness to go the extra mile, I think this match put that to fucking shame. And you're right. I had a note here after the table spot. The table spot, to me, it looked weird in the sense that it looked like it was going to be a spear, but it turned into more of like a power slam into the table. And, he went through the table, and you're kind of like, okay. My first thought was, doesn't look like they're gimmicking these tables still, right? And then he rolled over, and it was like, yep, definitely not. Because his back looked like he looked like he got in a car accident, and he was on a motorcycle. Just like road rash on his back, just brutal. And you're right, it changed at least 3 different colors during this match. And you're like, dude, there's no need to take any more bumps. You proved your point. And he didn't stop. Like, it didn't seem like that caused him to deviate from what he wanted to do and accomplish in this match, which, once again, his back looked fucked. And still went on and had a pretty spectacular fucking match. Callum Newman, still to this day, Joel, is an underrated piece of New Japan's puzzle. And I don't think he gets the flowers he deserves. And I don't think that I still don't think that even after this match, people give him the proper due. He's an incredibly talented pro wrestler who has really. We talk about how amazing it is when guys have a connection with the crowd, whether that be Drilla, whether that be Utah Ice, and I think Callum has in the past year has really just shined. Even before that, shined in becoming this gigantic dickhead of a leader of a faction who, quite frankly, can go with the best of them, which makes it even more annoying. Like he deserves a lot of fucking props. And to me, this is tough. I got to put him in my top 3 G1 performers. Like to me, he's gone well above what I think a lot of people even expected, and he's doing shit. And it's almost like he's doing stuff, Joel, just to say, "Oh, you think I'm out of it? All right, well, I'm going to do something even fucking nuttier just to shut your mouth." And back be damned. You want a missile drop kick into a fucking set of chairs? I'm down. You want me to take a fucking back body drop over a set of chairs? I'm down. You want me to go through a table? Fine, whatever. Like and again, with a spine that's fucked up, apparently, with shoulder that's a mess, with all the things that he's going into this. He's gone out there, and we talk about Gabe Kidd giving the extra mile. Callum Newman has gone a mile and a half. To me, he's in my top 3 of MVPs.
Yeah, I'm looking at my average star ratings on G1 Climax 36.versal.app, and my top ranked is Suji with an average of 4.11, and second place I got Callum, 4.03.
Good.
So that speaks for itself. I mean, if anyone's curious, I've got 3 wrestlers in joint third place. I've got Oiwa, Zach, and Gabe Kidd all on 3.97. Then I've got Takeshita 3.94. Then I've got Yuya on 3.88. But yeah, Callum Newman second, and yeah, he's been brilliant. Like I say, he's worked great. Jay White, because he's got that kind of sort of cocky, obnoxious, cunning edge to his character, but he's not a coward. He doesn't try to avoid or hide from a fight. He will stand toe to toe. He'll shit talk you, but then he'll stand toe to toe and back it up with violence, and he will eat shit and make other people look monstrous. And yeah, totally agree. He's been brilliant, and I'm glad. I'm really happy for him that he's through to the last stage of the tournament, and the stage is set now. We've got Suji. For the semi-finals, we've got 3 announced matches so far. We've got Oiwa versus Callum Newman. We've got Yuya versus Yota Tsuji, and we've also got the 5-minute limit Hiroyoshi Tenzan retirement match with Tenzan versus Kojima. How do you think the rest of the tournament's going to play out? Chris Amster was talking earlier about he was ranking the finals in terms of the probability, and we're looking at, well, he thinks Uemura versus Oiwa is the most likely final, so maybe they're going to revisit that brilliant match that they had last year at Korakuen Hall. Suji versus Oiwa, Suji versus Newman, Uemura versus Newman could be a repeat of the New Japan Cup final. So where do you land? Who do you think is making it through?
It does feel like this is a Yuya moment. If you told me that Suji's winning and making it to the finals, I would not scoff. I would not hand wave that. But it does feel like this is all here for Yuya to take. I'm tossed up. Now, I want Oiwa. Make no mistake about it. To me, he feels like a guy that's shot out of a cannon right now, and I'm digging everything he's doing. That said, I just spent 10 minutes gushing over Callum Newman and how he's been an outstanding performer here in this G1.
There's no bad option, is there? There's not a terrorism option.
Yeah, not a bad option. Gun to my head. All right, let me ask you this. This is maybe even a better question. You tell me. Does the company trust a G1 final with 2 guys who have not really been put in that role? Whereas Suji, Callum Newman, you can lean on past Wrestle Kingdoms, you can lean on past tournaments. Like, they have a little bit more experience. You're putting 2 guys in there that don't have the experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't produce an epic G1 final. But do you think you need to have some safety valve in there? Or are you just going balls out? Let's fucking go. Two guys, go get it. This is your moment. Take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
I've seen enough from both of them. One, the G1 match that they had last year, which was phenomenal, and what they specifically Oiwa. But I've seen enough from Yuya to I know that with that stage, with that opponent, that it would be a very bold choice from the booking committee to go with that. But I think it would be the right choice. That would be just a really pure expression of what New Japan Pro Wrestling is in 2026, which is focusing on the Japan Pro Wrestling bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? So having two dojo graduates in a huge spot like that, being trusted with something that they've never done before, each of them with their own unique, earnest vision of what pro wrestling should be, that isn't the, sort of Naito, Ibushi, Kenny Omega, Okada, flashy, massive 5-star move sequences and all the bells and whistles and that. It's, you can imagine it's going to be the headlock versus the wrist lock, and that's thrilling to me. Seeing what they would come up with in a packed out sumo hall in a G1 Climax final. I just think that would be incredible. So that is the final that I would like to see, and I'd like to see Oiwa win. I just think there's something about Yuya losing a New Japan Cup final and a G1 final that might take his character in some interesting places. I think he needs that, and yeah, that's where I go. But at the same time, any other combination of guys in the final, I'd be perfectly happy with as well. I mean, just great statement of intent, having these 4 hungry young guys, absolute bags of talent, working their socks off, and you can't go wrong here.
You can't. You know what it reminds me of a lot, Joel, is for those people who may have missed or weren't put on this planet yet, or maybe haven't gone back into the archives. This feels like if it were going to be Yuya and Oiwa, like it feels incredibly old school. It feels very Kensuke Sasaki Kenjimoto, or Hashimoto and whomever. It has that vibe to it to me. Again, I'm not comparing either wrestler to any old, whatever, but it has that vibe to me. That's where I'm drawing a lot of the excitement from. And it's one of those let's plant a flag in the sand moment for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and here's a real solid touch point where we'll be using this video in packages for years to come, right? And more importantly, it's going to be used. When Naito won, or when Kenny was winning, or whomever was winning G1s, but maybe even Tanahashi, maybe whatever. Like it did feel like it was established guys winning the tournament, as and trust me, there were stories there for Naito and absolutely, don't get me wrong, but this feels like a new chapter in a promotion's history. Truly does. Man, I hope they have just the balls to do it. I would really be thrilled. And here's the thing too: if they were going to even sniff this, I think let's put it this way: I think it is vital for both matches to be great. I think there's even more emphasis for Tsuji and Yuya to be great. I feel like Yuya needs it to be great going in, because if it's not great, oh boy, are you going to hear the moans of people. I think it will be great, but it needs to be great, and I think it's.
I don't have those worries about Yuya in a big spot. I think he's fine in the big spots against big opponents. It's when he's in a match against like a Ren Narita or like a Jake Lee or whatever. That's where I think, this is not a guy who's yet capable of making a match more than the sum of its parts. But I think in a big spot like that, I think that's the kind of spot where he shines.
You might be right, but he's got to do it. Like, this is the brightest light that he's had. So I hope you're right. And I think you are right. Let's put it that way. And I think the dance partners, like, you have 4 of the best wrestlers in this company. Truly. All with different styles and different ways of getting there, but all 4 equally pretty great. I don't know, man. I'm pumped for it. I gotta be honest. I'm rooting for some spoiler, and some underdogs, but yeah, like, gun to my fucking head right now, Yuya Uemura would be so fucking great.
Ree says, how many angles should we be expecting this weekend? Empire, Shota, House of Torture, etc. Yeah, I mean, I've already touched on one person that I think may be making a return. I would not be surprised to see Shota. I would not be surprised to see something developing with United Empire, maybe a Will Ospreay appearance or video or something like that. I think there's lots of possibilities. And yeah, I am expecting something to happen with House of Torture and new people to be debuting the company, but I think there's a danger of maybe doing too much too soon. I think that might be happening later on in the year. But I try not to do this with the G1 finals. I always think, there's going to be an angle in this match and an angle in this match, and there's never any angles at all. So I think just, expect nothing and be pleasantly surprised if stuff does happen.
Right. I think you'll have listen, I say it's the summertime months. Watch what they do here, Joel. It's the summertime months, G1 finals, semifinals, and finals. Sit back with a cold beverage of your choosing. And, if you want to cook up a couple burgers, maybe some corn on the cob. Yeah, there you go. There's your, and be surprised at G1. Pretty good, right? I'm a professional.
Oh, absolutely. Smooth as silk, Damon. Mm-hmm. All right. Daryl says, who had the greatest elevation this tournament? And how does New Japan leverage this great tournament to elevate these guys to main event status?
Oiwa, I think, right? I think he went from nothing. Again, a guy who was in a playoff, play-in, wrestle-in, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Remember wrestle-in? Remember that? Wrestle-in. Boo. Yeah. I think I like... The great part about it is that you had it throughout the entire run here. But to me, you're looking at Oiwa and you're looking at I guess you got to go Yuya, right? But again, that wasn't too much of a surprise. We all kind of had him in the mix near the finals. Yuya, Oleg Boltin had a great tournament. Yuta Ice, even OSKAR. I'm going to say Oiwa just because he's the hot hand right now. Oh, he's sneezing again. Are you sneezing again? Oh, no. Come on, Sneezy. Hope I didn't lose you. Well, listen, we went 2 hours anyway.
Sorry, I'm still here, guys. I was dealing with a cat situation.
All right.
He's trying to bring a bird into the house.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, listen. I thought you were going to say he has his period. All right. Shall we end it now?
Let's end it now. Sorry, Daryl, you did ask questions. I'll try and get to those next time. But yes.
See you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. New Japan Pro Wrestling is so back! Are you out of the loop? You want to know what's happening before the rest of the Yankoid imbeciles? Want to find out who be the top guys in AEW in 2028?
Then listen to the Super J-Cast, premier authority of New Japan Pro Wrestling that keeps Chris Charlton up at night.
We cover New Japan at every level, in the ring, the backstage politics, the cross-promotional drama, the history, and what it all means for the future, the good, the bad, and the great Okan.
And no company glazing PR here, no move-by-move recaps, Just brutally honest analysis, unrivaled contacts inside the company that put the rest of the wrestling journalists to shame, and quite frankly, irritating track records of being right before everyone else.
We broke the Okada story. We broke the Forbidden Door story. We've told you what was coming before, and we'll fucking do it again.
Super J-Cast. Listen now. Then, in 3 years, pretend you knew it all along.